All right, we are recording for chapter 10. Not as many notes for this one. Though I can definitely rant about one of them. We'll get to that. So yes, this is the uh picks up with Kenobi disabling the tractor beam, then him trying to get back to the ship, while the others have now escaped the trash compactor and trying to get back to the ship. And some of that is different, like how Han chases down the group of stormtroopers. It does, in fact, state in here that they stop at a dead end, and that's when they turn around and see him. And he doesn't immediately, like, stop and then just whoop and then turn around. No, he starts slowing down, and then it's like when they all are realizing he's alone. That's when he turns around. So the special edition, how they put in that it's actually an open hangar bay. That's I get why they did that, because it's a bit easier to have the comedic effect there of Han going, "Oh crap," than them realizing, "Wow, why were we running from this guy?" So that's that, and it's also Chewie takes a little bit longer to get after him. But one thing a little interesting, just a little technical mechanical point that is, when you stop and think about it, a good question. Why does Luke have a grappling hook in the movie? I mean, I get that it serves the point there, but he stole the utility belt and armor of a stormtrooper that resides on the Death Star. I understand an adventurer in a video game having a grappling hook with them and rope. You're on a completely artificial structure. What do you need the grappling hook for? The cable, okay, maybe. No, not even that. I'm not entirely sure about. Why do you have the grappling hook? I mean, it's a good question to ask of the movie. In the book, though, he doesn't have that. Instead, he finds the cable. It's not actually clear. He's like moving his arm up and he just notices something by his waist, and it's a cable. But it is a military grade cable, and whether it's like just debris or something here, or if it's not clear where it came from. It's just there. But he then ties a power cell to it, so he fashions something that serves as the grappling hook, and then he throws it in, and it works. But it is not at all a grappling hook like what is shown very specifically in the movie. At least as I recall, it does actually have 3 prongs in it, which are to hook. This it has to wrap around stuff to actually hold. Okay. I will. The next 2 points I have written kind of go together, and they're the ones I can rant on. So I'm going to go to the fourth one, which is the scene for Kenobi's death is different in the book than in the movie. It's not horribly different, but it is still structurally different. One is, in the movie, as I recall, and I'll watch it when I finish reading. So I'm going by memory. As Luke was running to the Millennium Falcon, he turned and is like, "Ben," and he stops. Or at least he pauses. He slows down and is watching instead of continuing on. And this is no indication that he at all slowed. At least not until the final blow. Once the fatal blow was dealt, then he turns. So instead of running to the Falcon, he turns to run towards where Ben was, and also the where the stormtroopers had gathered and where Vader is. That's where he runs to. And Ian does yell out and starts shooting, and I don't remember if it was his shot or Han's shot, because Han is he does turn and is like, "Oh no, this is bad," because Luke shouldn't be doing that, but he does start opening fire to give him some cover. I don't remember if it even said which, but one hits a control, and that's why the doors close and Vader's behind, stormtroopers are in front. Although it does actually say that the doors were closing on them, so the stormtroopers leapt into the hangar. Vader leapt back, so he actually leapt out of the hangar, so he wasn't going to engage. Which may make some sense, because he was still potentially confused. I just cut a guy in half, where's the body? The robe is here, but where's the body? So that I can understand, that it's also, he doesn't consider them a threat, plus it has been set up, he is the one who planned the whole putting the tracking device on the Falcon to follow Leia. He's at least accepting of Leia escaping because he has that plan there. It is his plan, not Tarkin's plan. At least I'm pretty sure it was. I have no idea where I would find it in here. I don't know why I was looking. But I'm pretty sure it was he who was thinking that, not Tarkin. It's almost like a back and forth, a little bit of mental sparring between them, because Tarkin got her to give up Dantooine, even though it was a lie, by threatening Alderaan. So now Vader is, well, I can do this. Maybe it was still Tarkin who came up with that. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how quickly I could find it. Okay. It might be in this section where they are talking. This is where Tarkin had Obi-Wan. Vader realized it was Obi-Wan. There we go. It is also interesting, one thing here that I didn't talk about in the previous chapter. Stirring the force of a kind I felt only in the presence of my old master. It is unmistakable. Surely he must be dead by now, was Tarkin's response. Vader hesitated, his assurance suddenly gone. Perhaps. It is gone now. It's only a brief sensation. It is kind of curious just seeing Tarkin basically being like, nah, man, I don't think so. He's like, oh, well, maybe you're right. I mean, it is kind of weird for Vader to lose confidence. Um, uh, okay, I'm just looking, because Tarkin is ordering, because they now realize that something's happening with the princess. Put all sections on alert. Right, he must not be allowed to escape. So it would be after this, but they're still just talking about Obi-Wan. And Vader's basically just saying, I have to deal with him alone. So I just need to see if it goes back to, no, Vader talking. You might be happy I'm spending the time doing this instead of the rant. We'll see. No, that's not it. And then, if this one, they just, okay. Then no, I guess it is, maybe it will be shown later. Or maybe it was even earlier, and I'm not going to be able to find it then. But, yeah, so anyway, that might also be the case, but I could be wrong. I could be misremembering that it was Vader instead of Tarkin. But, yeah, so... No, I actually... this was... I did plan on reading some, but it is interesting the way... Not there. The way the two Kenobi and Vader talk to each other... That's... Okay. Come on. No, that is it. Okay. You were once my teacher, and I learned much from you. But the time of learning has long passed, and I am the master now. Vader does like saying that. I'm just trying to see where the... Your powers are weak, Vader noted emotionlessly. Old man, you should never have come back. It'll make your end less peaceful than you might have wished. Since only a part of the Force, Darth, Kenobi murmured with the assurance of one to whom death is merely another sensation, like sleeping or making love or touching a candle. It's a curious list. As always, you perceive its reality as little as a utensil perceives the taste of food. Which is a kind of curious way to put it. I guess he's trying to insult Vader by saying that, because a utensil is used by somebody else or something else. So he might be saying that you are only being used, possibly by the Emperor or others, or maybe he's even trying to say that you're only being used by the Force. Not entirely sure on that. But yeah, it is still interesting that this back and forth that they have. where Vader's constantly declaring, I am the master now, I'm the master now, I'm the master now. Which is, yes, you get that line in the movie, but it's not, it's like one and done. He's not constantly saying it. And he is also constantly trying to insult Kenobi. So, you still have your skill, but your power fades. Prepare to meet the Force, Obi-Wan. Things like that. So he's definitely boasting. He's bragging. He's trying to convince Kenobi and potentially himself that he is stronger. Well, he probably believes that he is stronger. But it is, we get to the speech, the very important one. This is a fight, well, strike me down or I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine, that speech. But it is different in the book. It's actually interesting if you consider it more in a earthly religious context. This is a fight you cannot win, Darth. Your power has matured since I taught you, but I too have grown much since our parting. If my blade finds its mark, you will cease to exist. But if you cut me down, I will only become more powerful. Heed my words. Okay, so that's, you can definitely take that in a religious way, basically saying that you to use a more Judeo-Christian understanding, because I'm Christian in case you couldn't tell, it's basically, it would be like saying, well, you are lost in sin. If I kill you, you're just going to hell. You're done. Like, there's no redemption for you. You strike me down, I will elevate into heaven and such. So it kind of has that flavor to it as well, which is certainly interesting. But it's also, did I say this before? I think I forgot pointing this one out when I was saying there were two structural differences with the fight. Kenobi doesn't just like hold the sword up and allow himself to be killed. He is killed. Once again, he lunged forward, feinting and then slashing in a deadly downward arc with the saber. It struck home, cutting the old man cleanly in half. There was a brief flash as Kenobi's cloak fluttered to the deck in two neat sections. So Vader did attack, and he had to feint as well, then slashing in a deadly downward arc. So he was attacking in expecting defense, because a feint would be, to try to throw Kenobi off, and presumably he succeeded here. It doesn't describe that Kenobi does respond at all, does try to parry, does try to draw. It doesn't state that, which is fine, because it interrupt the flow here. That I understand that, but there isn't the suggestion of him just like that accepting it. Okay, but it's also, as I said, Luke was only watching like at the very end, so you don't have the whole Kenobi looking over, like, and then knowing that, okay, if I take this, it's gonna help. I'm gonna be more powerful, and he's going to get this motivation to keep going. Or at least, again, it did occur to me, again, we have Luke losing a connection to his past, which is Obi-Wan, even though he's known him a whole, what did we figure in the last video, 2-3 days? It's like, this is very rapid for Luke. He should be an emotional wreck when you think about it. But it's also, why does he care so much about Kenobi? I mean, I get that he is important to him, but it's like he barely knows Kenobi. Kenobi knows him, but Luke barely knows him. But anyhow, coming back to that speech, I will only become more powerful, all that. Vader's response to this is also very interesting. Your philosophies no longer confuse me, old man. Vader growled contemptuously. I am the master now. So as he again is stating, I'm the master now. But it is interesting. Your philosophies no longer confuse me, old man. So the way I'm interpreting this, and it could be wrong, because it's not specific there, although the no longer confuse me, old man, that we do have that dismissive, at least I'm reading it, well, no, it's growled contemptuously. He is being dismissive of Kenobi. So I think it's appropriate that you interpret this as he's also being dismissive of those philosophies. They no longer confuse me, not necessarily that he understands them, but that he's dismissing them. It's like, all these things that you taught me, I consider them meaningless now, which would fit in with what Kenobi was saying earlier about you are just a utensil, basically, for your understanding of the universe and the Force. So it is definitely quite a bit more interesting here, and also even going up earlier, if my blade finds its mark, you will cease to exist, but if you cut me down, I will become more powerful, heed my words. Response, your philosophies no longer confuse me. I mean, that is, one to the next, there's nothing in between. So it is interesting there, because he's also then saying your philosophy is no longer confuse me, old man. He's dismissing this idea that Kenobi's also saying that if you strike him down, he'll become more powerful, whereas if Vader gets struck down, he'll just end. So he's even dismissing that. And it is, again, just this interesting aspect of these counterparts here. I'm a little bit struggling to find the exact right words here, but a way to put it is Vader is very much of the here and now. He is concerned, like earlier, he wants the universe to know his existence, right? Oh, hang on. I think I put that in. No. I'm trying to remember. No, it wouldn't have been there. Just realized. There. Okay. Okay. So yes, I was in chapter 8. I want to find and reread that. I read it in that section because I really liked it. It was very, very effective. So here we go. I really wish that they had the chapter numbers up at the top. Okay, yeah, here it is. Despite his advances and intricate technological methods of annihilation, the actions of mankind remained unnoticeable to an uncaring, unimaginably vast universe. If Vader's grandest plans ever came to pass, all that would change. If my blade finds its mark, you will cease to exist, but if you cut me down, I will only become more powerful. Heed my words. It's also worth noting, Kenobi has been basically a monk, living as a monk. And even just the Jedi robes in general, but the robes you do, if we go to the prequels, but the robes he has in A New Hope, which in theory we can say is most like what is here. The way it describes it, the robes Alec Guinness wears are in better shape than these. But yeah, like a monk, Vader is literally, he's in armor, but it's, the face mask and the, he has the technology built into him. So it's anything but monkish. It's not humble at all. And it's just, as I was saying, the Vader's concerned with existence here. So if we continue to take it somewhat religiously, he wants the universe to recognize him and his whatever he achieves. He wants it to. He wants his presence to be felt throughout, which is not what Obi-Wan seems to be about. Excuse me. I'm just trying to remember if there was any specific quotes there. Not necessarily, but it is still, that the line I did read earlier about Kenobi. Kenobi murmured with the assurance of one to whom death is merely another sensation. So it is, one who wants to control the universe versus one who is part of the universe, I guess is a way to put it. Which in some ways you can interpret the Force as being. So yeah, it is interesting that this duality there between these two, it's like they are very different, competing views on nature of life, purpose of life. So yeah, it's just. And you don't get the lines about what Vader wants concerning the galaxy in the movie, in part because that is entirely internal in the book. But also even in that speech is a little bit different. But it is still, looking at it in the religious lens, it is somewhat interesting to see those are likely also the comparisons that are supposed to be there. Not just of good and evil, but concerning existence itself. Vader wants to change the universe. Obi-Wan is simply part of it. And it's also, this is also meaningful to me because and I actually have an idea for another book that'll lean into this even more. But in A Letter from Catherine, yes, sometimes I confuse the titles a little bit and they merge in my mind, kind of like when I stumble over my tongue. Somebody once complained about my muttering. I am sorry about that. Sometimes I don't speak loud enough for the microphone. But sometimes it is. My tongue just starts stumbling over itself. And I have a speech impediment. So it all just gets hard for me. But let me just, with this, the image here, which is of the Small Magellanic Cloud, I believe it is. I'm just scrolling up to, yes, Small Magellanic Cloud. Like one of the things in A Letter from Catherine with Roman there, the main character there, he's a pilot and he pilots space, but he so enjoys, he loves being able to just see this all with his own eyes. And the cover of that, and I've talked about this many times before, and I'm sure I will talk about it many times again. The cover is an actual scene in the book where he is on the outside of his ship, just lying back looking out at existence. Now, it's a different image. That's NGC 3324. I don't feel like pulling that image up. I can. I just don't feel like doing it. But he could also have been, staring off at an image like this. And so the cover art, I just put him, have a silhouette of him like in his spacesuit lying down, just looking up and seeing that nebula, which is quite beautiful. So, it's like Obi-Wan would also be like that, is kind of how I'm interpreting this, where he would just see that, take in the majesty of it, the beauty of it, and feel satisfaction there, while Vader looks at something like that and is like, but it doesn't know I exist. And it's like, so what? Does that matter? Does it need to know you exist? I mean, for what it's worth, if it were aware, it might look at you in the same way that Obi-Wan looks at it, or Roman looks at it, in that you are still beautiful because of just your existence as it is, just as it is beautiful for its existence. So, yeah, just the opposing philosophies there, which it is also that, the whole your philosophies no longer confuse me, old man, Vader growled contemptuously. Vader rejects some of this stuff here, the idea of potentially objective beauty, or that there is simply a beauty to existence. And that also existence can be greater than you and will always be greater than you. Vader needs to be part of it, needs to have control over it. So it is just interesting to see that might be what is there. I am reading between the lines for some of this. Hopefully I'm not completely reading between the lines and just making it all up. We'll see, because my guess is we will have one or two more conversations involving Vader in this that might provide additional information. Like, in theory, he might have to report to Tarkin. And it's like, what happened to Kenobi, Darth Vader? I cut his cloak in half. And him? He disappeared. Is that something the Force does? So, where are they going? I mean, it's like, you'd think that there was going to be that conversation. It's not in the movie. It would be interesting, though. It's like, I got a bunch of witnesses. They can tell you I cut him in half. It's like, where's the body? Can I see the body? There is no body. Yeah. Would be an interesting conversation act, especially for Darth Vader. What do you think? It's like, he's supposed to be this big, imposing guy. Tarkin is smaller. He's oh man. And I looked him up the other day, and he's just gone from my mind again. Who played him? Peter Cushing. There we go, Peter Cushing. It's like Peter Cushing did that role so perfectly. Oh man, I wish he was more like he was in the book, but because Peter Cushing would have done it so well. But it's like him just very calmly questioning Vader about what happened here. And I could almost see Vader being like, I don't know. Especially with that thing earlier where Vader, I am just going, where Vader is like, surely he must be dead. It's like he lost his confidence. It's like, what? Vader loses his confidence over a question like that? Over a point like that? Oh, boy. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what goes forward. It'll also be interesting when getting to Empire Strikes Back, because that will be a new opportunity for some of the philosophical differences between Vader and the Jedi, since we'll not only have Kenobi as a ghost, but also Yoda. So that will be interesting to see. But it's also that it was written years later. It was after the success of the first movie. It came out closer to the release of Empire Strikes Back, of the movie, I should say. So I don't know how much there may have been overlap to make sure that things align better. Some things I could believe would have been retconned to better reflect the movie, because it became less of a, hey, I'm telling a story both in book form and on a movie, but was probably at that point no, we're working on a franchise here, so you'd potentially be making more cinematic choices, I guess is a way to put it. So yeah, that it will be interesting because it's also possible, and this is why I was rambling on like that for the past half minute or so. It's also possible then that you will see the potential for the religious interpretations to be diminished because those aren't necessarily as cinematic, even if they can still be very good storytelling. So that'll be interesting to see, but that is going to probably be weeks away. I don't know, because I'm going to slow down a little bit because I want to do this month. I've been doing this and not writing as much as I should be, so I might be taking a little bit of a break, at least within a week. There'll still be some videos, but I might not do 6 or 7 in a week again. Alright, that has been enough of me just rambling on. Next will be Chapter 11. As I recall, there are only 13 chapters to A New Hope. I am just going forward to confirm. Come on. Okay, there might be long chapters. I really wish I had a good table of contents. It does not. Yeah, 13 chapters. So there's 11, 12, no. Yeah. 11, 12, and 13 left. To go, so. Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember what my point was for that. It's getting a little late, and I do need to get to writing. So, see you next time.